It's crazy how many of these there have been this week. So a new segment I like to call Who's Raping Your Children This Week? And yeah, it's terrifying that I have so many to cover. I literally had to create my own category for this crazy bullshit. So let's just go ahead and get started on it. A former Alabama police officer has been arrested for several child pornography charges. Say hi to Officer Aaron Flint, who is actually facing 25 possession of child pornography charges, unless there's a computer glitch happening here, and it's not, folks. And you're going to be shocked to find, shocked I tell you, prepare your shock face, that 0% of these people I'm about to show you tonight are drag queens. I know, how could this be possible? But it is. And next up, Maryland man arrested for painting groomer on library doors is now also charged with child porn possession. Yeah, every accusation is confession, folks. All the people running around trying to distract you with drag queens and gay people being groomers, many of them fucking pedophiles themselves. And while they have the populace distracted with other people that are not actually harming kids, it takes the spotlight off of them and allows them to do their dirty deeds in the dark. Washington, D.C.'s WTOP News reports a former Prince George County, Maryland public school librarian, a librarian who was spraying other libraries because he didn't like the kind of books they had, I guess. Super cool, dude. Why do they always look exactly like you would expect fucking pedophiles to look? You know, I don't want to judge a book by its cover, but pedo! Public school librarian arrested on vandalism and hate crime charges last year is now also charged with possessing child pornography. Shocker. Charles Sutherland, 31, of Tacoma Park, was arrested last June after police said he was caught on video spray painting the word groomer on entrances to public libraries in New Carrollton and Greensbelt around the time of Capitol Pride Week. Yep, it's those evil gay and lesbian people. Aren't they the real pedophiles? No, turns out it's you. You're the real pedophile. He consented to a search of his home, there's your first mistake, and admitted that there were images of child pornography on his computer. These people are so stupid. Like, obviously you're fucked up to be a pedophile to begin with, but you're gonna get caught. If you have pictures on your computer, if you use your computer, if you even try in any way to reach out to any chat and do anything, you're going to get caught. You better keep that fucking shit to yourself, you morons. And here's the creepy part, not like it wasn't already incredibly creepy. Police also found diapers and dolls around his apartment, but guess what? He didn't have no kids. Nope, including a child-sized doll in his bed. But nope, told police he had no children and had no nieces or nephews. So curious. What were you doing? You were raping it? Oh yeah, okay, that's what I thought. And let's move on. There's so many. Pro-life ex-GOP aide who worked on Trump's ads sentenced to more than a decade in prison because he enjoyed seeing children get raped. Yep. An ex-GOP staffer who helped design social media ads for Donald Trump's re-election campaign has been sentenced to more than 12 years in prison for receiving hundreds of child sexual abuse materials, including videos of babies being raped. And shocker, this guy is anti-abortion, wants to make sure that children carry their rapist babies and nobody can have an abortion, I assume, because he wants more babies to be born so he can rape them. You know, I guess if they come from broken homes, it's a lot easier to rape babies from broken homes. So, super cool, conservatives. Where you at, Q? Where any of you at? It's almost like you don't actually care about this in any way. Literally more than one being arrested every single day now. None of them drag queens. None of them LGBTQ activists. None of them. It's all conservatives, preachers, priests, youth pastors. Every one of them. And even CPAC, here's the party who is hyper-focused on banning drag queens, trans people, associating pedophilia with homosexuality. Here's the guy that's running the whole party right now, Matt Schlapp. Also accused of sexual assault by one of the people that worked with him. Very credible accusation. The person's gone public. CPAC rented a booth to convicted child sex offender. Shocker, right? Daryl Brooks manned a booth at CPAC to sell his book, Welcome to America, How Cultural Marxism is Slowly Destroying America. Yeah, that's right. Cultural Marxism. Isn't that what we really should be afraid of? It's not. We should be afraid of the pedophiles. Yeah, that's what I thought. his co-author, Stephen Martino. The book warns of a cultural Marxism, a common boogeyman among the conservative and hard-right movement. A court convicted Brooks of masturbating in public in 1995. The Philadelphia Tribune reported he was also convicted for exposing himself to 2 minors in New Jersey in 1998, according to the Times of Trenton. Oh, but they don't care, folks. They don't actually care about any of this stuff, and they don't have to care because they know that the conservatives that support them also don't care. They feel morally obligated to lie. They believe they were speaking for God. They're God's chosen people. So, hey, if they have to lie about a bunch of trans and gay people, it's all good, right? As long as they take and maintain power, that's all that matters, regardless of what has to happen for them to do so. Let's keep going with who's raping your child this week. Milton O. Martin, 56, pastor of First Pentecostal Church of Chalmette, has been charged with sexual battery and carnal knowledge of a juvenile. Let's keep it moving. Mark Rivera, a former Anglican lay pastor, that's an unfortunate term, sentenced to 15 years in prison. Raped a 13-year-old. Super cool, but he's a good Christian man, so let's let him off with a slap on the wrist. Official with Catholic Diocese in California is arrested for possessing and sharing child porn, folks. These are new ones since Monday. This is 4 days worth of pedophiles being arrested here, folks. Imagine if this was a year's worth of drag queens or trans people doing this. They'd be rioting in the streets, folks. They'd be putting them to death. But crickets. Abso-fucking-lutely crickets from conservatives. None of the right-wing commentators, none of the influencers talking about this in any way. They're still hyper laser focused on trans people because they found, I guess, that this is some kind of winning issue for them, as nuts as it is. But yeah, young guy here had a bunch of child porn on his computer. Real super smart. Here's another one, folks. 4 days worth. Former Leon County teacher / youth pastor indicted on sex crime charges. So, another shocker. Let's see what else we got here. Here's one. Florida minister gets life sentence on child sex charges. Lincoln Auger was known in the community not only because of his work as a real estate agent, but he founded a faith-based ministry called Hot Dogs for Hope. Oh my. That's grim, dude. Grim. Which provides food and laundry for the homeless population of Jacksonville. He was also involved with other local organizations and churches. When confronted by the boy's mother, Lincoln Auger apologized and said he had fantasies about being with boys, according to the police report, adding that the mother should believe everything her son told her about the abuse. According to detectives, he also told the boy's mother he had done worse things to others. I'm sure he has. Look at this fucking creep show.
Husband is, in her words, a monster. He's charged with molesting a 12-year-old boy. His wife is speaking only with reporter Vic Michelucci about her husband's arrest.
You had no idea?
I had no idea.
And you believe that the allegations are true?
100%.
41-year-old Michael Lincoln Auger is a real estate broker. He was also active in several local churches and ran a ministry called Hot Dogs for Hope, which fed and clothed the homeless. Police say he resisted being arrested, and that's why his mugshot looks like what you're seeing behind me.
Just saying, I usually am not for police brutality, but in this very rare situation, I'll allow it. Like I said, folks, this is 4 days worth. It's just insane. Remember Q was telling us how any second now, all these pedophiles are going to be arrested, and now all these pedophiles are being arrested, and crickets. They're not mentioning anything about this because it's not Democrats. They don't actually care unless it pushes their political ideology. Not hearing any of them talk about it. And here's a hero calling out the problems.
I've been down a rabbit hole all morning. I want to see state legislatures across the country introduce bills that say children under the age of 14 cannot step foot in a church. And in order for them to step foot in a church, they need to attend a grooming awareness course. An article popped up that said the Catholic Diocese of Sacramento is declaring bankruptcy. And my first thought was, oh, great, not enough people are attending church. Maybe this is the end of organized religion. Started looking into it. It's not just Sacramento, it's also Santa Rosa and San Diego. And the reason is that Gavin Newsom opened up a 3-year window of time where people could file sexual abuse claims against the church and ignore the statute of limitation. As a result of this, and all the claims that have been filed, these churches are declaring bankruptcy because they cannot afford to pay off all these claims. And I looked into it more, and there are 26 dioceses across the country
26.
that have declared or in the process of declaring bankruptcy because they cannot afford the claims against them. And I found this article from 2018. I can't find any later numbers that says the Catholic Church has paid nearly $4 billion in sexual abuse claims. So I have no idea what it's like now, 5 years later. Here's the kicker. The Catholic Church, which pays no taxes, took in over $3 billion in coronavirus aid in 2020. And millions of those dollars.
Our taxpayer dollars are going to rape children. Yet many of these same people who are decrying groomers continuously, like Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Catholics, man, have nothing to say about any of this, have nothing to say about the constant rapes of children, have nothing to say about all these Catholic churches literally going bankrupt because of all the allegations. You are the groomers you've been waiting for.
Went to these churches that declared bankruptcy for abusing children. Our tax dollars are paying those claims.
Yep.
And then if all of this isn't bad enough, I found that the Associated Press did an investigation back in 2019 and discovered that almost 1,700 priests and clergy accused of sexual abuse are still working unsupervised with children.
Yep.
And so while all these state legislators are passing laws about banning drag shows, the real abuse is happening in these churches and nothing is being done about it.
Yep.
Nothing. They're still allowed to work with children.
Yep.
Our tax dollars are paid.
People still going and giving their children to these pedophiles. We should start charging these parents who get raped by these priests.
I knew it was bad, but this has just like sent me over the edge. No child should be allowed to step foot in a church.
Nope, exactly. Without some kind of, like I said, class, letting them know exactly who they can tell if they're groomed or raped should absolutely be mandatory. Where are you at? Where you at, Proud Boys? Where you at, Q? Where you at, Shoot? Where you at, all of you? Well, I know where you're at. You don't actually give a shit about any of this. You're all fake. You're all nothing but goddamn bigots.
True.